Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review! Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Always a pleasure to be here. You know, I'll come across something like this every so often. It doesn't happen all the time. Occasionally I'll find an item, sometimes it's a series of items, but I'll come across something. The interest for it just isn't there. And I'll see the company, or whatever it might be, they'll try to launch an advertising campaign, they'll promote the item so vigorously, endlessly so it seems, but it just never takes off. It never takes off, it never really gets the attention, no one ever really pays it much mind. And it gets to the point where it almost becomes cringeworthy, so to speak, where it's like you'll see them just trying to promote this item, but obviously people just don't care about it. And it's like, all right, come on, just give it up already. This, I'm starting to get a feeling, is one of those items. Popeyes, about a couple months ago it all started, they released a brand new series of wings. Standard bone-in chicken wings. You could buy them especially as a 6-piece, and they come with the sauce on them. They're like your standard chicken wings. And they made such a big deal out of them. Now, I'm not sure if they believed anyway that this would drum up perhaps as much hype as like the chicken sandwich. They made such a big deal out of these wings. They released them, and the release fell flat on its face. No one really cared. It's like, oh, all right, well, all right, good to know. People weren't rushing out to Popeyes to get their hands on these wings. Popeyes, however, said, we're just going to keep trying. So they started releasing these sorts of wing meals, special meal deals. Then last month, they released 3 additional flavors of their wings. They're still going all out promoting them. And no one cares. No one even knows, for the most part, that they even released this. They advertise them, they promote them, but it just has yet to catch on. And it's just making me wonder, is this another instance of one of these concepts that a place just keeps promoting and promoting endlessly, so it seems, and they just can't get people to care? So I'm interested. Number 1, in seeing what these 3 flavors taste like. But number 2, perhaps you as a viewer could answer this. Why do you think it is that Popeyes is just struggling to drum up interest in these wings, despite them just putting so much attention and effort and all of that onto these? Why do you think they can't get them to catch on? Part of me thinks maybe it's just because they're wings, right? Wings are a basic food. There's only so much you can do with them. Everyone already knows what chicken wings are, and it's like the only thing you could really do with them is change up the sauce, but even then, right, these are all concepts that everyone's already heard of, so it's like maybe you just can't make people excited for something that they already understand so much, and you just cannot drum up the hype for that. I don't know. Could it be the fact that each of these is maybe overpriced? I mean, I paid $8 for each of these. So this was $25 just for 18 wings. Maybe it's just overpriced. People just don't want to spend the money. Could it be because they just aren't any good? Maybe. That's what we'll find out. But I'll say this. They released, back in September or so, the first series of their wings, and they were actually solid. I enjoyed them. I thought they were pretty good. So that's what's got me thinking. Now, I guess, if they're good, then you could kind of just say, no, it's not that anyone doesn't care, they're just underrated, right? And that sounds a little bit better. But anyway, I'm curious, though. Why do you think Popeyes is having such a hard time with this particular lineup? I'm interested. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any thoughts. Nonetheless, Popeyes has indeed released new wings. I guess they're just going all out. They say, well, we don't care whether they float or sink. We're just going to release them anyway, and that's going to be that. And I'm going to do a quick review. I'm going to power through it all. They've released 3 new wing flavors. They have released their signature hot wings, which come with a Cajun hot sauce. They have released their honey barbecue wings. And then they have released roasted garlic Parmesan wings, which comes with Parmesan and Asiago cheese thereon, and some garlic as well. Again, you can get them 6-piece. They're bone-in wings. So each of these for a 6-piece with no sides or drink, I paid $8 for. $8, $16, $24 for these 3 wing flavors. So, nonetheless, interest or not, I like wings. They're one of my favorite foods. I always enjoy, particularly when I review pizza, and I enjoy the wing reviews too. Burgers are good also, but wings especially, I am a fan of. And nonetheless, interest or not, you obviously know how much of a daredevil I am, so I'm just going in anyway. I don't care. And I'm going to try them out. So first, let's start with the signature hot wings from Popeyes. They all come in the wing tub right there. You can see the lava on the bottom. And there they are. 6-piece. So these are, again, like your hot, spicy wings. Now, with the first wing that I try, I'll also assess the quality of the chicken. But after that, I'm just going to assess the sauces, because I'll assume they all just taste the same otherwise. Fried, crispy, has the sauce on it. And with that, let's try it out first. The hot, what are these called? The signature hot wings from Popeyes going in. Alright, so for the sake of time, these assessments are going to be a little on the quicker side. So I had one of the signature hot wings. And I'll say this, it's interesting. First and foremost, quality of the chicken is fine. The one thing that Popeyes always gets right is the chicken. That's always a guarantee. They do a good job with it, and this is no exception. Tender, juicy, of good quality. Wings aren't overcooked. They're also decently sized. The meat is juicy, it's tender, flavorful, very nice. I am perfectly fine with the quality of the chicken itself. No issues there. As far as the sauce is concerned, the signature hot surprised me a little bit, and I don't know if it's necessarily a good or bad surprise. It was just a little unexpected. I kind of went into this, when you see the name signature hot, I think everyone will sort of just expect, whether it's true or otherwise, it to have sort of like a standard buffalo wing sort of flavor. It's not what it had, actually. The sauce is oil-based, so I bite in, and at first I couldn't really taste much. I could taste the chicken, but the sauce was very runny and oily, and it wasn't all that flavorful. I kept eating it, and I tasted then a little bit of a hint of sweetness, and I thought, did I order the wrong wings or something? I kept eating it, and I kept tasting it, and then all of a sudden, once it reaches the back of my mouth, then this spicy aftertaste emerges. And what I noticed again is that the sauce for these wings was, again, it was oily. There's a little hint of sweetness in it, but aside from that, there's not really much to detect there. And all I notice, heat-wise, again, is this aftertaste in the back of my mouth that doesn't really, it's long-lasting, don't get me wrong there, but doesn't really strike a Cajun note to me either. So it's a bit of a surprise. Are they hot? Yeah, I'd say so. But again, it's just as an aftertaste. There's no direct spice, and they're not the most flavorful in the world sauce-wise. So out of 10, I'll give the signature hot wings. I'm just going to give them a 6 out of 10. They're all right, but I think they could be better. So maybe they don't care about them just because they're not that good. Who's to say? Next up, the honey barbecue wings from Popeyes. Supposed to have a little bit of sweetness. And let's try them out. I don't know how well you could see it, but that's the lava over there on the bottom. So I had one of the honey barbecue wings, and I'll say this. For everything that the signature hot wings got wrong, the honey barbecue wings made up for. That's my belief. The quality of the wings are the same. Good quality. But the sauce, in my opinion, granted it's a totally different flavor, but the sauce for the honey barbecue wings is much better. It's a bit of a thicker sauce. It doesn't seem to be like the sort of oil-based sauce that the signature hot is. It's a much thicker sauce, but it's much more flavorful too. It's especially got that nice sweetness to it, as you would expect for a honey barbecue sauce, but it's just right. It's not overwhelming. It's not overbearing. The honey aspect, you could actually taste it, but again, with these sorts of honey barbecue sauces, sometimes they go overboard with the sweetness. They did not with these. And it's very enjoyable. There's still a little bit of not quite a tang to it, but it's got this almost zesty sort of note to it, but the sweetness especially pairs perfectly with the chicken. It helps balance out the greasiness that it might also have, since these of course are fried. That's a very nice sauce. Honey barbecue. Very nice. Again, it's a thicker, fuller, rich sauce. That sweetness. Very nice touch. So, these are much better, quality-wise, in my opinion. Out of 10, again, the price for these, $8. Slightly overpriced, but you know what? The sauce is good. So far, of the three, this is my favorite. I'm going to give these an 8 out of 10. Definitely much better, in my opinion. And now, put this down here. The roasted garlic Parmesan wings. That's ice on the bottom. And there they are. They're bathing. Let's try them out. All right, and now I don't think I need to pause the camera anymore. So, I went into this optimistic. Garlic Parmesan wings can be interesting, and if done correctly, they could be very enjoyable. These just aren't it. They look like they have potential. Now, granted, it's not everyone's cup of tea right off the bat, but they look thoroughly coated with the sauce. You could see the seasoning on them, etc. But as I tried it out, I quickly realized the sauce, again in this case, is oil-based. That doesn't mean by default that then it has to be bad, but the fact of the matter is that it's tough to get the full flavor. They're very oily, they're very greasy. I could taste the Parmesan cheese, especially, more than I could taste the garlic, which is very odd. I would expect it to be the other way around. So these are more like Parmesan cheese wings with oil and grease and a tiny hint of garlic, which is very bizarre. I didn't expect it to be in that order. Again, the chicken quality is fine, but as far as the sauce goes, it leaves a lot to be desired. I was hoping for them to be a little more garlicky. I was hoping for a better balance of things. I was hoping that I would, yes, be able to taste the cheese, but as well taste the garlic, that they wouldn't be as oily, and that those elements would all combine into a nice, enjoyable blend. And unfortunately, that's just not the case on these wings. It's not to say that they taste bad necessarily, but if you ever have one of those items where you just know the flavor profile, it's just not working out, and there's a very obvious clash, this is a good example of it. It's an interesting idea. It can be executed, but in this case, the execution of it just isn't there. And there's just a big clash as far as the flavors are concerned. So therefore, out of 10, I'll be giving the garlic Parmesan wings from Popeyes, I'm going to have to give these a 5 out of 10. Not that they're bad, but it just doesn't work. So, maybe I've answered my own question. I was wondering, why aren't these all that talked about? Now that I've tried out these 3 new flavors, when 2 of those 3 flavors are iffy, maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's just because they're not that good. If you get these, though, get the honey barbecue ones. Of the 3, they are easily the best. They're all overpriced, but they're easily the best. Go with the honey barbecue wings. But maybe this was a fluke, and let me know what you think. Do you think Popeyes can save these wings? Do you think they could get interest going up in them again, or do you think it's just a lost cause? I'm curious. This is a quick review, perhaps a little unorthodox, but I wanted to try out all the new wing flavors from Popeyes, and I was able to do just that. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week.